ago, in a land far away, there existed a magnificent savanna. The golden grass swayed gently under the warm African sun. Tall acacia trees stretched their branches toward the endless blue sky, providing shelter for countless creatures. This was a place where life thrived in perfect harmony. Birds sang their melodies from the treetops. Zebras and gazelles roamed freely across the open plains. The rivers sparkled like silver ribbons winding through the landscape. But among all the creatures who called this paradise home, there was one who stood above the rest. He was feared by many and respected by all. His mighty roar could be heard echoing across the vast wilderness, reminding every living creature of his absolute power. This is the story of that great king and an unlikely friendship that would change his life forever. In the heart of the savannah lived a magnificent lion. His name was whispered with reverence throughout the land. He possessed a beautiful golden coat that gleamed brilliantly under the sunlight. His mane was thick and dark, flowing majestically around his powerful face like a royal crown. The lion was incredibly strong. His muscles rippled beneath his fur with every graceful movement. His paws were enormous, armed with sharp claws that could crush anything in their path. When he walked, the ground seemed to tremble beneath his weight. Every animal in the kingdom knew to stay away from his territory. The lion feared nothing and needed no one. He hunted alone, slept alone, and ruled alone. In his eyes, he was invincible. Day after day, he would patrol his domain, then rest beneath his favorite shady tree, dreaming of his endless power. Not far from the lion's resting place, hidden among the tall grass, lived a tiny mouse, who was perhaps the smallest creature in the entire savannah. Her fur was soft and brown, blending perfectly with the earth beneath her delicate feet. Despite her incredibly small size, the little mouse possessed a brave and curious heart that set her apart from others. While other mice stayed safely hidden in their burrows, she loved to explore the wonderful world around her. Every single day brought new adventures and exciting discoveries for her curious mind. She would scurry through the grass, climb over enormous rocks, and discover secret paths unknown to larger animals. The mouse had heard many terrifying stories about the great lion from other creatures. All the small animals warned her repeatedly to stay far away from his dangerous territory. But curiosity was simply her nature. One peaceful afternoon, the mighty lion lay sleeping beneath his favorite acacia tree, while the warm breeze carried the sweet scent of wildflowers across the land. His massive chest rose and fell with each deep breath as he was lost in peaceful dreams, completely unaware of what was about to happen. Meanwhile, the little mouse was on another exciting adventure, scurrying through the tall grass and following an interesting trail she had never noticed before. She was so deeply focused on her exploration that she completely failed to notice where her tiny feet were taking her. Suddenly, she found herself standing in an open clearing where the grass was flat and pressed down. A strange, musky scent filled the air around her. Before she could understand the terrible danger, she had already climbed onto something large, warm, and breathing. It was the lion himself, and the little mouse had accidentally run right across the sleeping king's nose. The lion's eyes snapped open immediately as something had tickled his nose and disturbed his pleasant slumber. His vision slowly focused on the tiny creature standing frozen with fear on his massive paw. It was a mouse, a tiny and insignificant mouse who had dared to wake the mighty king from his peaceful rest. Anger flashed brightly in the lion's amber eyes. With lightning speed, his great paw slammed down hard, trapping the helpless mouse beneath it. The little creature squeaked in absolute terror, her small body trembling uncontrollably beneath his weight. The lion slowly lifted his paw just enough to examine his catch, with a mixture of great annoyance and slight amusement. He opened his enormous jaws wide, revealing rows of sharp and deadly teeth. The mouse could feel his hot breath washing over her tiny body. This was surely the end of her short life. The mouse trembled helplessly before the lion's terrifying gaze, knowing she should simply accept her fate. But something deep inside her small heart refused to give up hope. With all the courage she could gather, she looked up at the mighty king with desperate, pleading eyes. The lion paused unexpectedly. He saw something remarkable in those tiny eyes looking up at him. It was not just fear that he saw there. There was hope, determination, and a desperate will to survive against all odds. For a brief moment, something unfamiliar stirred within his hardened heart. The lion carefully considered his options. Eating such a small creature would bring him absolutely no satisfaction whatsoever. It would be like swallowing a single grain of sand. With a low growl, the lion lifted his heavy paw and set her free. The mouse looked up with overwhelming gratitude, then quickly scurried away into the safety of the tall grass. Many peaceful days passed since that fateful encounter between the two unlikely creatures. The lion had long forgotten about the tiny mouse who had once disturbed his sleep. Life continued exactly as it always had in the savanna. He hunted, he rested, and he ruled his vast kingdom with absolute authority. But unknown to the proud lion, terrible danger was quietly approaching his territory. Human hunters had entered the savanna, searching desperately for the legendary lion whose powerful roar echoed across the land. They wanted to capture him and take him far away from his home forever. Under the cover of darkness, the hunters worked silently and carefully. They found the lion's favorite resting spot beneath the old acacia tree. There, they laid their deadly trap, a massive net made of thick, incredibly strong ropes, spread across the ground and covered perfectly with leaves and grass. The next morning arrived peacefully, like any other beautiful day in the savanna. The lion stretched his powerful body lazily and yawned widely, revealing his impressive teeth. He was hungry and ready for a new day of ruling his kingdom. Without any suspicion of danger, he walked confidently toward his usual resting place beneath the familiar acacia tree. The moment his heavy paws touched the hidden trap, everything changed dramatically. The net sprang up violently from the ground, wrapping tightly around his entire body. The lion roared in complete shock and terrible fury at his situation. He thrashed violently with all his might, trying desperately to break free, but the strong ropes only tightened more around him. He bit at the ropes with his mighty teeth and clawed at them with all his incredible strength, but it was completely useless. The great king of the savanna was totally helpless and trapped. Far across the vast savanna, the little mouse heard a very familiar sound carried by the wind. It was a roar, but not a roar of power and authority like she remembered. It was a roar filled with pain, fear, and desperate hopelessness. She recognized that voice immediately, without any doubt. It was the lion who had so generously spared her life all those days ago. Without a single moment of hesitation, the brave mouse ran toward the distant sound as fast as her tiny legs could carry her. When she finally arrived at the scene, her small heart broke at the terrible sight before her eyes. The mighty lion lay tangled hopelessly in thick ropes, completely exhausted and without hope. The mouse wasted no precious time at all. She climbed onto the net and began gnawing determinedly at the ropes with her small but incredibly sharp teeth. The little mouse chewed and chewed without stopping for even a moment, her tiny jaws working tirelessly through the night. One rope finally broke apart, then another followed shortly after. The lion watched in complete amazement as the tiny creature worked so hard to set him free. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the last rope snapped loudly. The net fell away completely, and the lion was free at last. He stood up slowly on shaking legs, looking down at the exhausted little mouse who had collapsed from her tremendous effort. The mighty king had learned the most important lesson of his entire life. True strength does not come from size or power alone. It comes from kindness, courage, and the precious bonds we form with others. From that day forward, the lion and the mouse became the most unlikely but truest of friends, proving that no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted.